I'll just start over again. Hello, everyone. This is another episode of Fire Breathing Rob. Please go to our website at www.youtube.com/FIREBREATHINROB for more videos. We interview all kinds of different people from all different backgrounds about the amazing things they do in their lives. So we're going to talk about today, we have an actor, performer from the Orlando area that performs all over Orlando, and she's also performed in Tokyo, also in Boston and New York, and this is Brianna Fogden. Brianna, looking forward to hearing from you again, and thanks so much for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So Brianna, just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and what got you into acting, performing, theater.
Yeah, so I've been dancing my whole life. My mom signed me up for dance classes when I was 3, and that's what I did, and that was my thing, and I loved dance. Thought I wanted to be a dancer, and then got into theater a little bit in elementary school, but really in high school, and that's where my passion was just performing. So I've been, I guess, professionally doing this since 2013. Had to go back in time for a little bit.
Understandable. It's been long days for everyone within the past few months.
What day it is even, so.
What got you into that aspect of performing?
It kind of just unfolded in front of me. I never really thought that my life would go in this direction, but I did and I didn't. It's what I wanted, but I didn't know that this would all happen. And it really started with my senior year of high school. I got nodes on my vocal cords, which are like calluses, and I couldn't audition for colleges because I was on strict vocal rest during that time, and I sort of was forced into this gap year because I didn't have a plan B. It was go to school for musical theater or nothing. So during this gap year, my dance teacher of 16 years was like, hey, why don't you just go to New York and audition for literally anything that you can? And I was like, okay. So I went to New York. I went to as many auditions as I could and got hired and moved to Florida shortly after. 6 months later, I got the call and I moved within a month. So it was a relatively short journey, really 6 months of auditioning and then moving. And then I've been here ever since. So I can't really give you concrete things because it was just a feeling in my gut that I had to do this and this is what I was going to do. And I was on a mission and it happened. And I'm so happy it did.
How do you perform it? Is it, do you have that anxiety or stress, or is that just that, the beginning of, you performed so many times? Is it just the beginning, or, do you always get stressed or, have some anxiety?
Yes. I mean, for like 50,000 people, it was always, the anxiety for sure was there, but,
right.
You do get used to it. Certainly the first few times is like shaking the whole time. And there is that, I don't know, I for one kept shaking throughout the times that I did it, but it wasn't from anxiety or stress per se. It was more just like excitement and energy, because I'm all about energy, and I think audiences share that there. So the more people you have, the more energy you're getting. So it's, if it's something you're doing every day, there's not that stress that goes with it. You're used to it. You control the situation. You understand what's going to happen. But when you do something new, there's that period of time where you are a little nervous of like, oh, what could go wrong? And you're still figuring things out. But yeah, I still get that rush. It doesn't matter how big or how small. I feel that excitement
Right.
every time I step on stage.
Mhm. How do you talk yourself down to kind of get into the groove when you hit the stage?
Yeah, so it's just creating a different narrative for yourself.
Mhm.
If you live in that state of this is an anxiety inducing thing that's about to happen to me, or you're placing that stress on yourself. So if
Right.
you just create a different narrative for yourself of I'm excited to do this, like here we
Right.
go. It kind of is a pep talk, but you have to change your way of thinking from being in that negative space to, I mean, if you're a performer, you're doing it because you love it. I would hope
Right.
so. So already the love is there. So focusing on that and being like, yes, I may be a little bit anxious, but like I'm doing this because I love it. Auditions, I think a lot of people work up in their minds that these casting directors are there to like judge them and they're almost the bad guy. Like you give them this like negative power when in reality they just want to hire you. Like they're just looking for the people to hire. So of course they want you to do well. So this is all just in your mind. So if you just flip the narrative to being these people are on my team, like they're rooting for me because they truly are.
Right.
And it's about changing the narrative in your own mind and knowing that we create the narrative.
Mhm.
Like we have the control to view things differently. So if society has told us like, oh, auditions are very scary, you should be nervous, like, well, if you just flip that and be like, this is an opportunity for me, I'm so excited to show them what I can do, then that stress and anxiety is taken off because you're stepping away from fear and you're stepping into the reason why you're doing this, which is love.
Right. So to go on top of that and to capitalize on it, you talked about talking, yourself up, getting ready for performances. Do you have any kind of, do you do stretching before you perform? Any kind of superstitions also to get ready for the performance? Anything like that?
I mean, if you're about to perform, absolutely you should be warming up in whatever capacity. If you're dancing, obviously
Right.
stretching and doing your routine that you have beforehand. If you're singing, obviously warming up vocally. Before auditions is when I probably get the most nervous. So I'll
Right.
do some like breath work, which I think meditation and breath work are like two of the most important things you can have in your toolbox because they will change your body chemistry instantly.
Right.
So if you can learn how to do that, I've been like in an audition that I've, really wanted and I'm working myself up and it's all in my mind. I will
Mhm.
go to a corner and like, I think Katy Perry does this. I think she said she does this. If you block one nostril and breathe in through your nose and then release through the other nostril and do that a few times, it literally will calm your body down and your mind down. I think it's Katy Perry who said that, but she'll do that before a big show to calm herself down. So it works. This stuff works, but it's about finding what works for you. And you just have to do trial and error and like help yourself out, like figure out what works best for you in those times instead of just going into it being like, ah, and then, you're not focused. Your body's out of your control. It's all about like understanding your instrument, which is your body, and learning how to control it, how to operate it, how to get it to do what you want it to do. So spending time with yourself in meditation and breath work, understanding how to use it. We got to do that as performers, as people, really. But especially as performers, when you under a high stress environment, you need it to perform the way you want it to perform.
How do you get ready for different roles? Because every role is different. Every character you play has a different personality. So how do you get ready for those different roles that you play?
Yeah, so rehearsal should be, your step number one and bringing the director's vision to life. whatever character you're doing, you've got to do your homework too. You need to relate to that character and bring yourself into that character. So doing your research at home, really trying to understand this character, doing your research through movies or TV shows, or reading other material. Maybe you can pull your character from a few different plays or musicals, and kind of combine these characters into your version of the character. But the director should really help you a lot, and you should definitely be having conversations with them of saying, you know, I had this idea. Is this like the right direction to go to? And I think typically directors are pretty open to what you have to bring. I personally have never been in an environment my whole life where a director is like, no, it has to be this. If you have an idea, I think directors are usually pretty willing to hear it. But, you know, think for yourself, do your own work, bring this character to life in your own way. You can be told a million different things. It's the same with dance. It's the same with singing. You can be told how to do something, but the magic is bringing yourself into it and believing, putting your beliefs and your love and your life into these songs or dances or shows that you do, these characters.
We see some plays, and I've watched quite a few different plays where, you know, there's only maybe 10 people on stage consistently. People are switching out into different costumes, playing different characters. If you're in that kind of atmosphere, in that kind of a theater project, or even on stage as a regular performer, how is that to jump in and out of different characters? You gotta kind of have a different mindset for, you know, jumping in and out of the different ones.
Yeah, for sure. This is all about like tricking your body and creating your narrative. So I love to find one line, and like it can be from it can be from the show you're doing, or you can write it yourself. But that one line will immediately get me into character, and it will be the cadence in which the character speaks, their voice, their intentions, their energy. So saying that line to myself before I go on stage, or, you know, switching back and forth, it gets you into it immediately. And maybe there's a physicality that can go with it too, like doing a specific movement or walk that your character, it's a staple of their identity. It just, again, it really is all about energy, like tricking yourself into getting that energy from within to switch back and forth, and keeping yourself on track too.
How do you improvise that? Or do you know those people on stage so well that they can kind of, you know, you guys bounce off each other, that they know that you messed up, so they try to improvise back? How does that work?
Yeah, so in these, I mean, you could sometimes be working with people that you've never met before, but the thing is, you all know the show, you all know the same show. So, and you're all on the same team, but they should be able to help you out. Like if you're in a spot where you're really stuck, there are little tips and tricks that you'll learn along the way, and you can ask other performers too, you know, like, hey, in this situation, what do you do? And other people, you know, may have been in that situation, who have been doing it for so many more years than you have. They can help you out, and you can adopt that. And I've never come across a performer who's like, no, that's my thing, you can't do that. Like, it's such a family. Every thing that I've ever been a part of in my entire life has been a family, and performers support each other. I've never encountered people being like, this is mine, you can't take this. So, you know, you learn little improvisation things along the way. If you think you can save it and like steer the ship back to where it should be going, then you absolutely can do that. And it'll just like happen. It'll come right out of your mouth. And the longer you know the show, the more you feel that you're in control to do those things. And But again, your partners on stage should, if you're truly struggling, they'll be able to help you out. They know the show, they can throw you a line. And again, I've only encountered teamwork, which is super cool.
Brianna Fogden here on Fire Breathing Rob. She is a performer here in the Orlando area, but has also performed in Boston, Tokyo, and New York City also. Brianna, let's go on to this. We just talked about improvisation. I am really bad at saying that word.
You nailed that.
Or set lines. What do you prefer? Do you prefer going on stage and just kind of going off the cuff, or do you prefer just learning those set lines and everything's, by the book?
I think it really depends. I used to be so good at improv, and it was what I did mostly. And so I was very comfortable with it. It really is a muscle in your brain that when you stop using that muscle, you got to like rebuild it up again. And you won't be as good as if you do it every single day, all day long. So now I'm more used to set lines, and the thought of just making up my own stuff and going rogue is definitely a little nerve-wracking. But people who do improv are like, to me, they're like superheroes. It really is like a superpower to be able to just completely live in that world. And you are on your toes. Like, they are so witty. Their knowledge bank is so big for them to be able to pick so many different things out and incorporate it. Anything anyone says, they have a response immediately, and also 10 more, because that's just how good they are at their jobs. So I just have like the most respect for improv actors. It's a hard thing to do, and it's very different. Like, a lot of Hollywood actors, even, they're used to set lines. And then it really is a completely different style of acting when you have improv actors. And if you go see, a play and then go to an improv show, man, it's so different. The energy is so different. But it's super cool. And I would love to get really good at improv again, because it is such a superpower, and it helps in everyday life. I think everyone should be exposed to improv classes, and how do you talk to people? How do you think of things on your toes? And be able to talk to anyone, because you have this skill of improv. And it's relating to people too. It's all about energy.
Good point. I agree. I want to talk about this, as we've, talked a couple of times now. I've learned that you're very good at makeup. How did you learn how to use makeup so well? And you're kind of somewhat of a professional. I've watched your Instagram videos. Obviously, I don't use makeup, but, I admire what you can do with makeup. So props to you on that. But how did you learn how to use makeup so well?
I'm self-taught, and I really pride myself on being self-taught. I don't like being influenced by these like huge makeup influencers right now. And if you've been keeping an eye on social media, on the makeup world, it has just boomed within the past 5 years. Like, it's incredible, and it's projected to keep just skyrocketing.
Why is that, Brianna?
Industry. It's social media. It's people having access to learning these techniques and having a deeper understanding of these products. And there are so many companies right now that are making cheaper products. It's more accessible. And, we say drugstore makeup versus brand name makeup. We used to only have access and understanding to this drugstore stuff, not even understanding. It's just, this color looks right. I think this is how you do it. But now we have YouTube and Instagram and these beauty influencers who are teaching, you can look like this too. And people are sitting down and taking the time to learn how to do this. And, our whole standard of beauty and makeup has gone way up, which has its advantages and disadvantages. And I think as a global society, we're trying to figure out, we're trying to navigate, what what that standard should be. And a lot of people are saying, I mean, it's just embracing everything. You can wear no makeup and be stunningly beautiful, and that's true. Or you can wear a lot of makeup and be stunningly beautiful, and that's true too. And it's just this understanding of, you don't need to wear makeup, but like, if you want to, here's how you can do it. But yeah, Instagram, influencing. Back to your original question though, of how I learned. I did makeup for dance recitals, and I've been dancing since I was 3. So to me, wearing makeup was such a special feeling, a special thing. I didn't obviously wear makeup every day when I was 6 years old. So to get to put makeup on it, it's associated with this special event. So that's where my love for it really started. And then when I was maybe like 10 or 11, maybe 12, who knows what time is, my mom gave me for Christmas a like 100-piece makeup set. And it was terrible makeup, but it had all of these colors. And I played with it, and I would design makeup looks for every dance that I was in. And usually I was in like 7 or 8 dances in the recital. So I was the only person who switched their makeup for every costume, because I wanted it to be a cohesive look. And that's what made me happy. So I did it. And then, I wore makeup every day in high school. No one ever saw me without it, which isn't the best, but then, coming into being a professional actor and this being my career, I picked up so much more. And when your picture is on the internet and you see, places that you could improve with your makeup, I, for one, take the time to fix it and to learn how to be better, and like what photographs the best, how can I look the best doing what I do. So that's, the interest was in self-improvement as well.
How would you talk to, as a woman, to, the young girls that look up to, performers like yourself about image issues?
Yeah, so I mean, I've dealt with body image issues my whole life, and I've been a performer since I was 3 years old. So it kind of just like, unfortunately, I think it comes with the territory. Especially when we're younger, we judge ourselves, we compare ourselves to others. And it really is society. It's been placed in our heads with magazine covers, with, who our celebrities look like, what their bodies look like. Representation truly does matter. And we just don't talk about mental health enough. This really boils down to mental health issues. We don't talk about it enough. We don't try and help it enough. Imagine if, all these young children in schools had counseling, had therapy. And it's not necessarily to fix problems. It's to point out, the problems with the world, essentially, and just having an understanding of yourself, of your body. I remember being a 00 when I was younger and in middle school, and sobbing, being like, I'm so fat. Obviously I was not, but it's built up in your head. And certainly I've struggled with eating disorders before, disordered eating. But it comes with the profession as well, which you do have to be a certain size. You do have some flexibility, of course, but we can't control our height, but our weight, at least, you do have to be conscious of what you're doing. However, there's so much, I think we're breaking away from that. First of all, I think we're breaking away from those negative thought processes, and we're really coming to an understanding of research is being made available of how to eat. Actually, we were taught that food pyramid when we were younger, and it changed when I was in school. So we had to learn a whole new one, and it's changed even more. I haven't kept up with how many times it's changed since I've been out of school, but I feel like it's always changing. We're always being told, no, it's this. No, this is better for you. No, now nope, they're saying it's this. And it's just about figuring out your body. Everyone's body is different. Everyone's body is going to respond differently to fats, to carbs, and this research is being made available. So understanding your personal body is step number one. Not listening to someone else's regimen and being like, oh, well, that's, if they're doing that, I have to do that too. You can take opinions and suggestions and ideas from so many different people, but really it comes down to you and your understanding of what works best for me. And I think we all are understanding now that you actually will lose more weight if you eat more food, because your body is being given the nutrition it needs to operate as a fully functioning machine. And I just think it was the idea that was placed in our heads for a long time of, if you eat less, you will lose weight, which, yes, of course, that is true, but it is so, the effects from that are so detrimental to your body and your mind that, like, it's not even worth it. If you just go down the healthy route, understanding how your body will operate and the foods that it wants to lose that weight, and also working out, it's a balance between those two things. So when we are performers, our body's our instrument, and it's our responsibility to understand how our body will work best and create the regimens that it needs to fully function at its best. And it's difficult when you have those influences of mental health issues. So it's unfortunate, but I think we collectively are heading in that direction. But I cannot emphasize the need for mental health awareness. And I think we are breaking that stigma of it's not okay to go to therapy. I think everyone should go to therapy, and just talk about what you're feeling. And so many people harbor it so close to them, and they carry. And if they just talked about it openly, we would all realize we're all struggling with so many of the same issues. And if we have that conversation, have that open dialogue, we can create solutions and help people more. So I'm very hopeful for the future. I think we are heading in that direction.
We look at this in sports too. There's so much pressure that is by the parents pushed down on these kids, whether it's sports, dancing, or cheerleading, whatever it may be, that there's, mental issues, as you spoke about, with mental health. So do you feel like it's that, or is it other things too?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's that generation. And that's why I'm very hopeful for the future, because as the millennials and Gen Z grow older, we are changing how we approach things, how we view things. And it just, boomers, our parents, they're products of their time, which was also very hard for them. They had these standards as well. They dealt with issues that we don't have to deal with because they changed ways. So gently and slowly, everything has been slowly changing in how we approach things. But, it's hard to deal with because they are truly products of their time. And that's what they were told. And I think at the root of it, they only want what's best. And they're trying to make their children the best and give them the best life, set them up for success. And they're doing that with what they know how, which is the pressure to be this. But oh man, I'm so hopeful. Maybe it's like dumb hope. Truly, like, you can say I'm a dreamer, but I hope I'm not the only one. And I don't think that I am. In that we're saying to children, it's okay. So show up as you are. Don't compare yourself. You have something that they don't. And yeah, they may have something that you don't, but like, you both are bringing different things to the table. You don't have to compete against each other and be like the best in this. Are you healthy? Are you strong? Are you doing everything in your power to to be the best that you can be. And that covers a wide variety of things. It's not just image. And there's, you know, when you follow the steps of being healthy mentally and physically and doing your best, everything else lines up for you. You don't have to struggle so much in one area when you check off everything that we all should be doing. Naturally, it's just that we're never told how to do this stuff. No one ever helps us with this. And it's, you know, society is a huge problem. Advertising. If you don't look like this, buy this. Oh no, you don't look like this Photoshopped image. You need to buy this, 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 and this. You should be doing this, 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 and this. Instead of saying, you know, hey, let's look at this as a personal thing. How does your body personally work? How does your mind personally work? We're blanket statement everything. And this is a personal thing. We all have personal journeys in our lives. We all have different bodies. So I just really hope we're heading down that path. And I think we really, really are. But to answer so many of your questions that I didn't really touch on, it's having the awareness. Just be aware that this is happening. Be aware that you've been told so many different things your whole life from society, from your parents, and understand that you have the power to think differently and to take a step back and really assess what actually is going on. Think for yourself. Know that you don't have to rely on what you're being told. You can rely on the information that you intuitively know. And if you really sit with these ideas, you're going to find out that they're not always true. And just be aware of the media that you see. I don't follow any influencers on Instagram because I don't believe it. And, you know, I think not all influencers are bad, but I don't need to be seeing these staged photo shoots happening. I want to see real people. I want to see art. I want to see nature, and I want to be inspired from there. So just be aware that photoshopping does happen, and it is, you know, it's accessible to us. You can download apps for free. Everyone can Photoshop themselves. Be aware that people are doing it, everyday people. Be aware that it happens professionally in Hollywood, on magazine covers. It's just be aware. You know, sometimes people just need sort of a little bit of a wake-up call to be like, oh, you're right. Things are like that. And why are they like that? And it's just this, I mean, it's history. It's this long, long, long line of how things have always been. And we have the power to break that cycle and change it and say, I mean, you don't know because you don't shop for underwear, but American Eagle's line Aerie, they've been doing for years now the Aerie Real campaign. And I choose to support them over, say, Victoria's Secret, because I know that their images are untouched. They get real bodies, real people, different shapes and sizes. They don't edit out rolls or cellulite. You see what real bodies look like in their products. And like, yeah, I'm going to give you my money because that's amazing. Everyone should be doing that. And it's more empowering. It's empowering to be like, yeah, my body looks like that. You're right. That's what a body looks like. A real body isn't photoshopped. And, you know, we all have, I could go on and on. I'm going to stop you there.
Great.
But
no, I know Dove was doing something like that also.
Yeah. These companies are noticing it. This is, I mean, we are breaking the cycle. These companies are noticing. They're noticing what people want. They're noticing where the money is going. And the more that we put our money into cruelty-free, demanding that chemicals be taken out of things, being aware of what we're consuming, and, you know, companies notice. So the more we vocalize what we want, the better.
Favorite place where you traveled and performed?
I would say Tokyo. I mean, how could you not? New York was an incredible experience, but just everyone should go to Japan because it is like the most life-changing place ever. The people, the culture, the fact that millions and millions of people can have mutual respect for each other and be kind to each other is like such a concept for us as Westerners. It's not a me first society. It's everyone else. Like, we're in it together. The beauty in that country is incredible. The fact that the country is spread out through so many different hemispheres, where you can go completely south to Okinawa and it's the same weather as Hawaii, or you can go to Tokyo, which is essentially like Boston. It has 4 seasons. Or you can go all the way to the top to Sapporo, where it's snowing and cold all the time. So it's just such an incredible country. It's so unique to be an island and to be spread out like that. And the culture, the nature in that country is just like unlike anything I've ever experienced. And there's just this energy of like peace and calm and magic. And it's truly indescribable. And I will say my dad came to visit me when I was out there. He was 69, we'll say he was 70. I didn't know if he was going to make that 14-hour flight. His back is pretty bad, but he made it, and I'm so glad he did. It was the first time he ever left the country. He's traveled around the country, but he's never left the country. And it changed his life at 70 years old.
Was it a culture shock going there from the U.S. to Japan?
Not at all. Everyone warned me of being like, oh, culture shock. You're going to have so much culture shock. And I found it was like, it's my second home. Like, I definitely left a piece of my heart there. I can't wait to go back. It was actually coming back to America that I experienced intense culture shock. And I didn't realize how unsafe we subconsciously feel every day in America. Just so many things happen here, so much crime, so many unknowns. You go out, you don't know what's going to happen, and you don't know that fear is truly rooted in our subconscious. And you can be in Japan, in a dark alley on the streets of Tokyo at 2 a.m. with $1,000 in cash, walking down the street being like, hey everyone, and no one's gonna look at you. No one's going to think twice. No one's going to care. People just mind their own business. And there's a level of safety that you just like don't even know you can feel that is available to you, because you've never experienced it in America. So I highly recommend everyone go there and just experience the beauty. Go see the cherry blossoms once in your lifetime. They're like the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And it just like the one word I keep coming back to is magic. There's so much magic in that country, and the people are just like, you can learn so much from them, and you change your life, right, your ways of being by experiencing how people can be, how everyone can behave. So it starts with one person. And if you exhibit that, you affect other people, and other people affect other people. So, just be a good person, I guess.
Brianna Fogden here. She is a performer in the Orlando area. And thanks so much for your time. With the last question, Brianna, what advice would you give a young woman about performing as far as that goes? And lastly, I guess I should ask this too, what are your goals in life after performing or even in performing?
So my biggest piece of advice is what my dance teacher told me during that gap year, which was just go, just do it. Like, what are you afraid of? We fear so much, and I think it's the fear of failure, but you won't be successful if you don't try. And I personally don't think there's such thing as failure. I think if you look at everything as a learning experience, then there's no way for you to fail. You won't fail if you learn something from it. So if you don't need to spend $1,200 for headshots. You don't need to have like the best looking resume in town. If casting directors are judging you based on that, then I don't know, maybe you don't want to work for them, but they aren't, you know, it's what you bring to the room. It's yourself, it's your talent. It's not the pieces of paper in your hand. So don't let that stop you. Don't let these outside factors stop you. Just go, give everything you have and learn from that experience. You don't have to go to school. I didn't go to college, and I'm making it as, you know, I'm in equity. So you don't have to have these long lists of things and say, well, I need to do this, 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 and this for the next 6 years before I can go to a single audition. And that's just not the case. You can do whatever you want. You know, we take on these beliefs and what we're told, you have to do this, you have to do this. Just go, try, learn from your experience, grow from it. And it'll only help you for the next time you go in an audition. You get more comfortable in audition rooms the more times you go. So start going, start learning. You know, this goes back to techniques for yourself. You can't know until you fully know in the moment what techniques work best for you, in calming your body down and getting your body to produce what you want it to produce. You won't know until you know. So just go and try, and don't let fear stop you. Yeah. And then your second question, what are my goals? You know, back in 2012, around that time that I knew I was going to be forced into a gap year, I got incredibly depressed and suicidal. And from that point on, I kind of vowed that no matter what I would do, my goal would be to be happy. It doesn't matter what I do. I truly, you know, I care what I do, but I don't care what comes to me as long as what comes to me makes me happy. So that's always, I mean, literally the pursuit of happiness. So just to keep on that track, keep being happy, find what makes me happy. And there's no way that, again, no such thing as failure. For me, there's no way I can do any wrong in my life or fail in my life as long as I'm doing what makes me happy.
So you see yourself in Orlando in the future then? I mean, we see how Orlando is growing with the Dr. Phillips Center downtown, and obviously with all the theme parks all around Orlando and Tampa area too. There's, you know, a good amount of performing for you there. So is that where you see yourself in Orlando for the foreseeable future?
You know, for the foreseeable future, yes. You know, RuPaul says this, and I love me some RuPaul. He says you take stage directions from the universe, and I love that. So I subscribe to that. I keep doing what I'm doing. I do my work, and I do a good job, and I work hard, and I do what's in front of me, and I don't plan super far in the future. If I see something and I'm like, ooh, I want to go after that, I do. But for the time being, I'm going to be here. And until something else comes along that I think would be the right move, my stage direction to move in whatever way, you know, I have no idea where my life will go, which is, I used to be so afraid of that. I used to be like, I have to control what's happening. And there's actually so much more fun and excitement in the unknown, when you understand that you can't control anything. So many things have happened to me that I had no idea to even like want or ask for or go after. And these things will fall into your lap when you stop trying to like control your life so much. So, you know, just keep doing your work, do it well, listen to your gut. Huge advocate for listening to your gut, because it'll tell you, it'll guide you, and you won't have to like worry as much. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm excited to see what happens in Orlando. There's a lot of growth happening right now. There's a lot of opportunity. If anyone's listening to this and is wondering, you know, do I go to New York? Do I go to LA? Consider Orlando. There's a lot of theater, the theme parks. We have Georgia just a few hours away, 8 hours. That's, you know, booming for movies right now. Television. We have I've filmed a television show here, a few months ago. We have more and more shows coming here to film. Lots of casting agencies. There's commercials. There's a lot of stuff happening in Orlando, and it is becoming this hub for entertainment for performers. So consider Orlando if you're looking to make your next move.
Thanks so much, Brianna Fogden. As I said, she is a performer here in the Orlando area. Thanks so much for coming on. We greatly appreciate your time. And where can people find more about you, Brianna?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. I'm most active at Brianna Fogden. I'm sure you'll give them the correct spelling of my name. And, you know, I do have a YouTube channel that is somewhat inactive, but if you'd like to see like 3 makeup videos, they are up there. But certainly Instagram is the way to go. And I'll quickly promote too right now during this isolation. Today is day 10 of it. I don't know when this will air, but I'm doing a 21-day isolation transformation that is 21 days to create a habit. So we're creating the habit of gratitude and positivity and self-reflection to help people get through this time and to help people in their lives.
Great advice, Brianna, not only through that, but also through everything else you spoke about through the interview. So thanks so much for your time. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me again.